Hi there beautiful creatures, welcome back. Today I have a bit of a different video for you guys. I really wanted to do a bit of a ramble and a chat on some topics that have been coming up in my life lately, and I thought often when somebody else voices these opinions, I'm usually like, yeah, that's going on in my life too, and there's kind of a real big connection with the collective unconscious in a lot of these themes, I think. And like a synchronistic kind of thing whenever somebody voices these opinions. So I wanted to have a go and voice them myself because they've been something that I've been considering and thinking about, and something that I've had to deal with today and over the days. So I guess the topic for this video is sort of two big themes, which are basically respect and compassion. I really wanted to talk about this idea of compassion because I feel like today's society is incredibly antipathic. It's, you know, it doesn't, everyone acknowledges that everyone's going through some shit, but nobody actually takes the time to feel something for that other person, because they are afraid that they're going to put too much of their own energy into it. And that is something that I think is wrong, and I think it's something that's also perpetuated in the spiritual community as well. It's like we kind of are all love and light and everything like that, and shadows and darkness, but nobody's actually willing to take the time to listen to other people, or I guess there's this phrase holding space as well that's been going around lately. Holding space for yourself and holding space for other people. It's like we don't have the time, or we're afraid that their energies are gonna rub off on us. It's like, that's not the way that this shit works. Like, come on. You know, if you're a solid, founded spiritual practitioner, if you, you know, are really grounded and rooted in your practice, I personally believe that there is nothing to fear with taking on sometimes somebody else's or not taking on, but just listening to somebody else's troubles and concerns without backing off it, almost like you're afraid that their concerns are then going to become your concerns. It's like, that's kind of not how it works. You can have compassion for someone and have empathy towards that person, but you don't need to take on the burden that isn't yours. And I think that's why people are so afraid, is because a lot of people can't draw the line between taking on somebody else's burden and just listening to that person and accepting that, and having the grace to let that go for them, because they obviously need to talk to someone. And it's much better that way than going, oh no, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't, no, I can't listen to you, I can't talk to you. You know, and it's something that I've been confronted with in the spiritual community. You know, people call you a Debbie Downer if you bring up things that are maybe the truth, such as the commercialism within spiritual community. But you know, it's kind of interesting, because it's like, here we are preaching, you know, living your most authentic self and expressing your true soul and your opinion, and yet we seem to not want to listen to that when it comes from other people other than ourselves and our own egos and our own opinions. You know, and it's not just the spiritual community, it's a lot of the creative community as well. Everyone's like so focused on their own shit that they kind of don't allow the wisdom of other people's experiences, and even if they want to share with you their traumas and their issues and their struggles, it can enrich and deepen our lives and our beliefs and our practices, not only, you know, artistic practice, but spiritual practice, and just, yeah, like, enrich our lives. It's like, when did this whole idea of storytelling to one another and kind of, I don't know if storytelling is the right word, but this kind of belief that we're not supposed to share anything with anyone, being afraid that their energy is going to rub off on us, or our energy will rub off on them. It's like, people are sensitive. Yes, people are sensitive, but people are not that fucking sensitive, and treating everybody like a precious little, like, thin pane of glass is not going to help anyone in the long run. You need to survive in this world, and this world has everything. It has the good, the bad, and the ugly, you know, if you want to put it in soap opera terms. It has everything. So don't be afraid to kind of feel compassion, and it's something that I've been dealing with myself. It's like when I catch myself in a situation where I'm like, oh, that person is, you know, just blew me off, or that person is blah blah blah, I'm kind of now starting to think a bit more like, okay, hold up, that person is probably experiencing something in their own life. They are probably just projecting that onto somebody else because they've had nobody's actually sit them down and said, hey, are you okay? Is everything going all right? And actually show them that little bit of compassion that is needed to not then create a negative emotion or a negative or project negative emotions then onto other people, because, you know, we're social creatures and we need to talk to other people and we need to connect with people. And more and more, you know, we're kind of turning a deaf ear like this, and, you know, we have more and more social media, we have a wider kind of communications through the internet, and nobody is actually listening to anybody anymore, you know, person to person and individually. And it's something that I'm endeavoring to do a little bit more with the few connections that I do have with people, like true deep connections in the spiritual community and also in the artistic community, is really kind of foster that and let people know that I'm here to listen to them, and I will give them that compassion without any, you know, fear that they're going to overload me, because I know that their burden is not my own, but I know that they need somebody to listen to. So I guess that's kind of the first bit about compassion. The second bit is about respect. And I'm not talking about respect as in like respecting your elders and respect in a sort of more traditional sense. I'm talking about respect in terms of regardless of age, if somebody has knowledge, more knowledge than you in a certain field, if they are perpetuating interesting opinions, if they are genuine and want to share their ideas with you, respect that. Don't shut them down and don't belittle them. I think a lot of people do this unknowingly and unwillingly within the creative industry, and certainly something I've also experienced quite a bit, and I am quite sick and tired of it, is people looking at me, noticing that I'm young, and then undermining me immediately in terms of my abilities and my talents. And it does, that kind of stuff really can begin to affect you as a person. It can really start to bring you down, and I think nobody really considers the amount of work that it actually takes to, you know, be a creative person, or just be really good in the field that you want to be good in, whether it's, you know, mathematics or science or anything. It takes a lot of effort, but somehow, you know, these other fields like maths and science get a lot more respect than those people working hard in creative fields. And I kind of just wanted to bring that awareness, I guess, to this idea of respect, and considering the fact that, you know, with I'm just speaking from personal experience here, and I'm speaking from my own experiences with being a creative person and working in the creative field as a photographer. A lot of people don't realize that when you end the photo shoot, that's not where the work ends. You go back and you download the photos and you sift through them and you edit them and you do this and you do that. And people either expect results incredibly quickly, like inhumanly quickly, which makes you work faster in an attempt to, you know, live up to these kind of almost unreachable expectations that other people hold you to, because they just don't, they haven't wrapped their head around the fact that the creative process is more complicated than it is written out to be. When somebody is commissioned for a work, these things take time, and the time that it takes is going to be the time that it takes. Some of these things can't be rush ordered and deadlined. You know, I'm not a graphic designer, I'm an artist, and there is a huge difference between the two, okay? Graphic design has its own certain rules. In my belief, art doesn't have any of those rules. So if you commission a creative work from me, or if you ask me to do a photo shoot, I'm going to take those images in a way that is fulfilling my visual language and my artistic interpretation. It may not necessarily be what you expect, and that's okay, because I will assume that because you're entering into a contract with me as a professional, you know what my work is going to be like. So a lot of people again are surprised because, you know, young people are going out into the field and they have wisdom and knowledge kind of beyond their years. I like to think that a lot of these people in these industries, whether it's spiritual community or artistic or whatever, are actually old souls. So they're being brought into this earth as already like a, you know, an old soul basically. And they they know what they're doing, you know. I mean, sure, everybody I love to learn, and you know, we all have lessons to learn, but, you know, have respect for some of those people that are, you know, trying hard and working hard and actually feeling like bogged down by the fact that there is no respect for people in this kind of a community. From the outside, I'm talking about from the outside, the sort of majority kind of majority section of society. Sorry, I'm just playing with my rose quartz in my hand so I can get my ideas out there from the heart. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to me because I don't see why my work should not be as respected as somebody who's worked in the industry for 20 years, particularly if my work is just as good as theirs. And I treat a client with the exact same amount of professionalism as somebody who's been in the industry for 20 years does. And I think that goes throughout all sort of small business owners or, you know, self-employed people who run their own businesses. You know, it goes for all of that. It really just approach people with respect and with compassion and kind of make sure that you're not, I don't know. I've kind of lost my rant a little bit, but I know that I wanted to talk about those two topics in particular, and I wanted to talk about this idea as well of seeing things through the heart and through the eyes of unconditional love. So when I'm talking about approaching, you know, people with compassion and respect, it's kind of through the eyes of unconditional love, which to me doesn't necessarily come from, like, it does come from within you and radiates outward, but it is also a source that you can draw upon that comes from outside of yourself, if that makes sense. Unconditional love is in the universe and you can draw upon it in whichever way you see fit. And a lot of the times now when I'm getting angry or irrational about certain aspects, I'll think of this idea almost in a rational sense of unconditional love as something that I can draw upon so that I don't need to be angry or annoyed, and I can just try and switch my mind and look at a situation from one that doesn't affect me so negatively. And I think that's kind of one of the ideas that I wanted to connect with this sort of respect and compassion, is the idea that through unconditional love you can actually look at the world differently, and you can choose to approach a situation differently. I'm not saying that it's something that's gonna happen all the time, because we're human, you know, we are and we aren't divine in our own way, but we are here to have an earthly physical experience, otherwise why would we be in these bodies? So I'm not going to say that, you know, gut reactions and stuff like that are wrong by any means, but I know that hate, rage, annoyance, arrogance, all those types of things that I experience, that everybody experiences, pride, ego, all of that shit, it can be looked like, if you want to put a filter on the lens, let's use a photography term here, then you can put the filter on of unconditional love. And you can just choose to sort of step away from a situation and see it like that, and afford yourself as well the same respect and compassion that you would afford other people. Because a lot of people are really hard on themselves and they're really terrified of letting themselves down, and I know that I'm also one of these people. I maintain incredibly high standards when it comes to my work, and I get really let down when I don't maintain, or I don't think I maintain those standards. And that's something that's kind of falls into that sort of looking through unconditional love. So I think that's it for me. I just wanted to really have a chat about these topics and see other people's opinions, and if any of this really resonated with you, let me know. I just feel like there's a lot of crap going on in the world, and I feel like we could all benefit from, you know, a little respect, a little compassion, a little love as well. So that's it for me for today. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys.